So the next team up, talked about the Buccaneers, and we dove into the Bengals. Whew, it's the Raiders, blown out by 24 against the New Orleans Saints in the game that I had them winning, and they were favorites. And well, you can say the Raiders did not cover by any stretch. Derek Carr, the Raiders banked on as their franchise guy, and this offseason doubled down on Devontae Adams, Chandler Jones, and a team that could compete with the very best in the AFC West. And a lot of people felt they were underrated. This year, though, they've been banged up on offense, and really the only positive has been Josh Jacobs. That was it. And this last week against the Saints, nothing was clicking. It's pretty obvious this is a trick, but I want to ask you guys a more deep question. Have the Raiders shot themselves in the foot?
I'm gonna go with this is a trick. I've been trying my best. I've been flip flopping with these Raiders. I want them to win. I'm a fan of Josh McDaniels. I want the guy to succeed as a head coach. I love Devontae Adams, and I'm a big fan of Derek Carr. But right now, this team you just don't know what you're gonna get out of them week in and week out. You really have no idea. And prior to this week, they were playing games that were always tight. Aside from the game against the Texans, that win, big win. They were losing some close ones, winning some close ones. They got smacked. The 24-0, can't even put up a damn point, can't even get a freaking field goal. When you got one of the best kickers in football, too, you can't even get him in field goal range. I think this is an absolute disaster right now going on with the Raiders. And I just have no confidence that at 2-5 right now, the teams above you, you're not going to catch them. This division is way too good. I know Denver's inconsistent, but right now how much better are they to the Broncos? I don't think that it's that much of a big difference. I don't like neither one of those teams at the moment. Wild Wild West isn't so wild right now.
So yeah, I mean, big stat that jumps off the screen is the Raiders are 0-4 on the road. They can't win on the road. Yeah, for some reason, the Derek Carr, Devontae Adams connection from Fresno State is not clicking now. Josh McDaniels is being kind of exposed again as not a head coach, and I'm actually kind of glad because there was a little bit of a time period towards the end of his tenure in New England where I was saying, I wouldn't mind giving Josh McDaniels one shot if when Bill walks away as to take the reins in New England. And I'm glad that we were not the team that had to deal with that, and it's the Raiders because, yeah, he's not. I'm pretty sure I said a couple of weeks ago that I would not be surprised if Josh McDaniels ends up back in New England in a year or two. It's not working out, and it's kind of a direct, like fault on Josh McDaniels. You're an offensive guy. Devontae Adams gets one catch all game. I mean, you can't even draw up a slant route or something, a screen pass, just get him involved. Like, this is ridiculous. I mean, you got Darren Waller out. He's one of the best tight ends in the league, but still, that means you got to feed and feature Josh Jacobs and Devontae Adams more. And it just seems like Derek Carr is going out of his way not to over target Devontae Adams. And I just don't understand why. Like, bro, you have one of the best receivers in the NFL, if not the best, and you're going to not even look at him. This team is falling apart. I mean, it started with the John Gruden last year, where they actually were kind of starting to make a little bit of strides. You saw some promise with them with John Gruden. Then John Gruden, shot himself in the foot for being a complete idiot. And then they kind of, they battled back after all that adversity. I think they made it to the playoffs last year, right? So they battled through that adversity, but then, you get Josh McDaniels, and I don't think it's a coincidence that they're not, you go out and get Devontae Adams and they're failures. It's a trick. So sorry, Las Vegas Raiders fan. Even though I root for Las Vegas, because I've always rooted for a team to be in Las Vegas, like a football team, baseball team, basketball team, all that. I think Vegas is a huge market and should have a sports franchise in all the major sports, but it sucks.
You gotta go to the stadium.
Yeah, at least exactly. I was just about to say, at least the stadium's great. At least you got that.
It sounds like an awesome experience, but the Raiders' issue was the fact you had Derek Carr, an absolute high point in his value, but you knew what Derek Carr was. They should have traded him right then and there because his value would never be higher. He's not top
John,
10 quarter.
John Gruden knew exactly what he was. He wanted to move on from him. No matter what you think about John Gruden's, emails and off the field stuff, on the field, the guy knows his sports and he knows quarterbacks. That was kind of his, forte. And he never believed in Derek Carr. He wanted to move on. So
He did a pretty good job pretending he did if that's the case, because he always was very supportive of Carr. And I'm not looking to hate on him, but you watch this Raiders team now and say, number one, bad head coach. Number two, a top heavy defense. Yeah, Max Crosby's like that one image where you've got like the Lamborghini and the rundown house. You got him and Nate Hobbs, nothing else. And then offensively, Josh Jacobs, I'm happy for him to be balling the way he did after getting his fifth-year player option declined. But I mean, the Raiders, they're just too top heavy, not disciplined, not well coached, and this entire stack of cards is going to fall upside down. This episode is brought to you by our friends at BestAmp. When it comes to sports betting, BestAmp is changing the game. You want to maximize your return, and with the BestAmp app, all you have to do is download it and sign up on their different affiliate sportsbooks, and you can see all the best odds given straight to you in one single place. The visual tools are very helpful, and by the end of the year, you can use it for accounting. You can get all the analytics that you'll need so that you can bet like a pro. Be sure to use our referral code at WiseGuys, WISEGUYS. Thank you to BestStamp for supporting us, and as always, back to the show. Last team, this is actually a really fun one. I like watching them. It's the Arizona Cardinals. When talking about entertainment and the production aspect, the Cardinals are a highlight reel nonstop. You get DeAndre Hopkins back, and he has been very much the same guy he was, a top 10 receiver since returning, that the Cardinals offense is going to go at all the time. And Kyler Murray, for what it's worth, is a great fantasy quarterback. He's a ton of fun. He's unique. But at the end of the day, you had the second highest paid quarterback in football and a roster built to win now. And the result for, a fourth year now, Kyler Murray, is underperformance. A 3-win team, last in the NFC West. And really, you're cementing yourself into purgatory with Kyler Murray. Just like the Raiders, not a good head coach. Cliff is probably better than McDaniels, but not by much. A GM who has done a very poor job drafting after getting Kyler, and just a roster that lacks leadership. The defense has had some moments with JJ Watt, who's been healthy, but it's a very flawed football team. And it seems like they're content with being flawed but exciting. It's very obviously a trick here, fellas. But is there a silver lining here at the Cardinals? Could they potentially make some move that could get them over the hump past just being a borderline playoff team?
I like you mentioned, you said leadership. Leadership is a big thing. And if you're not getting it from that QB room, where are you getting it from? And are you getting it from your head coach? That's the big question. Who's the real leader there outside of JJ Watt? I think D-Hop leads by example. He goes out there and he shoves, but he's also was just suspended for the first 6 games. So I don't know where you're getting that from. I think this is a very talented group. I think Kyler Murray is super talented. And he has all the makings to take this team to another level with D-Hop there, because you have your number one, and D-Hop, like you said, he looks absolutely fantastic since returning. They were in this game. A couple turnovers and not being smart with the football is really what cost them here. I think the real credit should just be, hey, Minnesota just keeps finding ways to win. But I'm gonna say Arizona's a trick here. I think they have talent. I don't think they're good enough. And I've been saying that from the beginning. They're not good enough. I don't think Kyler Murray's ready to lead this team. I think he's looking forward to playing Call of Duty when he goes home, and he's okay with where this team is at. I don't see that, I'm not seeing fire, man. I'm really not.
Yeah. One thing on that Call of Duty thing, one of my friends told me to bring this up, I think last episode, and I completely forgot. But I think he said he saw something online. I didn't really look it out, but he said he saw something where there's a pattern going on where if it's double XP week in Call of Duty, Kyler plays bad, and when it's not, he plays good. I don't know if that is real. If you want to, look that up for yourself, but If that is the case, then that's just kind of, I mean, it's laughable. Like Justin just reacted. It's laughable at this point. Yeah, the Cardinals ain't going nowhere. Cliff Kingsbury, I don't think he's the guy. I think he's either better suited as a OC or a college head coach. Should have never got the job in the first place, was not qualified to get the job. We should really mention that. There were so many more guys way more qualified to get the job than he did. Yeah, this team's not going to go anywhere. Sorry, Kyler Murray is a high school. He plays like a high school quarterback. So
When you look at teams in the NFL and sports that are stuck in the middle, at each and every single point on the way to mediocrity, you have options. With the Raiders, they could have moved Derek Carr and rebuilt. They chose to try to win games. With the Cardinals, they could have fired Cliff Kingsbury at this last offseason, but they extended him. Meanwhile, there are guys in the market like Brian Dable, Mike McDaniel, and a few others. I would even take Matt Eberflus. I know he's not an offensive guy, but he has been really good in Chicago. He deserves his flowers for building a strong, really competitive team over there. And with the Cardinals, that was their biggest mistake. Now they can still fire Cliff, but who's going to replace him if you do? It's a massive missed opportunity. And the Kyler extension you had to do. But at the end of the day, you really put yourself in a compromising state where there is no way you could win this. No way. And now you'd be lucky to get off of Kyler.